Hey guys, Kira with Crofty Cosplay, and today I'm going to show you how to take your own cosplay photos. You don't need a ridiculous amount of gear or even a fancy camera, but I'll show you a couple of ways you can do it so that you can work within your budget. Everyone has a phone these days, and the cameras are pretty good on them. A lot of point and shoots are Wi-Fi enabled and are pretty affordable. And then there are the awesome DSLRs, but all of these options will give you great photos to work with and share. But let's take a look at the backdrop first. Originally, I just bought the black background from Amazon, which was less than $20, and I would tack it up on my wall. It also comes in a few different sizes. FYI, it did leave some holes in the wall, so just be aware if you decide to do it. But it was limiting the space where I can hang it, so eventually I invested in the stand. You also don't need a backdrop. I actually just prefer the look of it unless I am outside or it makes sense for whatever character I'm cosplaying to be inside somewhere. But if you're looking for an in-studio type look to your photos, a simple background is the way to go. And just because you use a backdrop doesn't mean you can't spruce it up a little. I like to try and hang pieces of different colored fabric or any other props that make sense for the cosplay. You can use safety pins to attach lighter objects or use clamps on the backdrop stand for heavier things. Just be careful not to put too much weight on the bar. Next, you'll need lighting. A ring light is the way to go because it gives off the perfect lighting, you can dim the intensity, and most will come with filters so you can have warm light as well. Amazon has a good one for $100, but if that's out of your budget, you can play with whatever lamps you already have, take the shades off for more light, use natural light from windows, etc. I would just avoid overhead lighting because it's usually not the most flattering and you want to light from the front or the sides. Then you might want to get a tripod. You can get a very cheap and basic one, and sometimes you can find bundles on Amazon that will give you the tripod, a phone mount if you're going to be using your phone, as well as a remote control shutter, which I will explain here in a bit. There are also a few of those gooseneck phone holders you can get that would also work. Anything that will hold your camera for you. Now finally, your camera options. First though, what I definitely suggest is getting a remote shutter release because it will make your life so much easier. You can get one for both your phone as well as your DSLR right on Amazon. So to actually take the photos, as I said, everyone has a cell phone and they really have good cameras on them now. If you can't buy anything else, just use your phone. Or if you have a point and shoot with Wi-Fi capabilities, that could also work. However, I often feel like the photos from your phone will look better than this, depending upon how many megapixels the point and shoot has. Then finally, if you have a nice DSLR, you should obviously stick with that. With your cell phone, you just need a remote shutter release, or you can try setting a timer. But what the remote does is it allows you to pose yourself, then click the button to take the photo. That way, you're not running back and forth. To make your life even easier, set a short timer as well as use the remote, so you can give yourself a few seconds and can hide the remote before the phone takes the photo. Just get a cheap mount for your phone and you can attach it right in the middle of your ring light. Super easy. If you prefer to use your point and shoot, it might be a little trickier. I couldn't use a remote shutter release with mine, but it did allow me to connect to Canon's Camera Connect app, which essentially does the same thing. The only downside is that I have to hold and hide my phone in photos, and that proves to be a little difficult unless I'm just doing headshots. Then a third option, which is my preferred camera, is the DSLR. I currently use a Canon 70D and it's real easy to connect the remote shutter release to. Like the phone, I just set a timer on my camera so that when I click the shutter release, it gives me a few seconds to situate and pose, as well as hide the remote before the photo is taken. Once you have your setup, it's time to take some photographs. Put on some music, have a dance party, but more importantly, just have fun with it. Taking your own cosplay photos might be easier for some people, especially if you're often shy behind the lens or you're unable to get together with a photographer. You can do this from the safety of your own home or even take your gear outside to get some shots. It's a little extra work on your part if you have to move things around to get the lighting right or the proper angle, but you can do this on your own schedule. And with all of us being stuck home these days, what better time to try your hand at filling up that cosplay portfolio? Thanks so much for watching this tutorial on how to take your own photos. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as well as hit that little bell to be notified of when I upload new videos. You can also follow me on social, as well as leave me comments with any questions you might have, or even tips and tricks of your own. Do you already take your own cosplay photos? What would you suggest to others who are looking to do the same? Until next time, guys. See ya!